What do I know about Thunder trucks? Well, let's see. Thunders, these are the highs. This is from another few years ago. These are more Thunders, as you can see. Even got the hollow light. I mean, I've been riding Thunders for the past 11 years or so, ever since I switched from Indies. So today's review is literally going to be on Thunder trucks. This is my first truck review that I've made, so we'll see how things go. But I was riding Indies for a while. Before that, I was riding the original Tensor Maglite lows, and I didn't really like I kept getting this like kind of weird feeling about like how it kind of turned. It had this like weird little thing. I had actually switched from one pair of Indies at the time, and then I went to the Maglites, and there was just something always off about their old shape and the trucks being low. So I switched back to Indy, and then from Indy I rode that for a few years. I liked it. Then some of my friends, when I was setting up a new complete, they said try Thunders, and I was like, well, that was a cool name. Chris Cole's on Thunder. So I tried my first pair of Thunder trucks, and I really liked it. So that's why I've been stuck with it. So let me explain specifically what makes Thunder trucks so special versus other trucks. If I was going to compare how they turn, I would say that Indy trucks, you have this kind of like soft, surfy, feely thing going on. It's very smooth transitions when you have turns. Very, very nice. Like if you're riding a longboard or you're a bowl skater, Indy is great. Indies just have that. They have like a special feel. Like you know when you're riding Indies, but they're very heavy, and they're also tall, that's actually a good thing. That's actually one of the cons I don't like too much about Thunders, and hence why I had a riser pad on two of the skateboards I just showed you, or why I would try to at least get the Thunder highs. So that's how Indies usually ride. Thunders are a lot lighter. They're not as light as the Tensor Maglites, but Thunders, if I'm going to describe how it rides, it's very, very reactive. So, for example, the board will stay straight, okay? Sorry, I'm still trying to get over being sick with the you-know-what thing that people can't mention on YouTube. And so you'll stay straight. And if you have like Indies or Tensors, which I'm currently testing out the new all-terrain geometry on the Tensor Maglites, which are a lot higher up and they turn differently. A lot of trucks, if you aren't perfectly balanced in the middle, like you're trying to do a ripstick or tightrope or something, the board will turn, or the board wants to turn on its own, and you have to try to hold the board still. With Thunders, even if you kind of like, I'm trying to demonstrate this, even if you like, you have like little micro movements in your ankle, even if you're like twitching and you're doing stuff, the board will not turn. It won't start just leaning. It'll still stay straight. So you would start thinking, well, why don't you just loosen your trucks? Well, that's the thing with Thunders. You can have your trucks loose and the board still stays level. It's just now you don't have to use as much resistance to turn, and you can go deeper. So what I'm trying to say is with Thunders, the board will not turn unless you tell it to turn. So, you have to initiate and add some force and precision, and then the board turns. And it turns fast. Where like Indies, they turn gradually. Thunders, it's very quick. If you snowboard, I would compare Indies to like carving on the groomers, where Thunders are more like, doing really quick, tight turns and like the skidded turns in the trees and setup turns. So you have a lot more precision. So, Indies, you see a ledge and you got to kind of, like slightly carve up to it. You do a trick. Thunders, you can like ride right next to the ledge, do a quick angle turn, and then pop and get right on it right away. So you don't have to really ride onto the ledge at as much of an angle. So that's what I've been noticing with the Thunders. Right now I've been doing Maglites with Tensor. Personally not liking them too much, but I haven't broken them in, so I'm going to eventually do a review on those. but those kind of feel like a cross between indies and thunders. So show you guys the main thing. But yeah, no, I've been riding thunders for a while. Again, a decade. These are only just a few boards from like the past 4 years. These actually feel heavy. I don't know why. Anyways, so thunders, the things that I don't really like about them, what I like, I'll start with what I like. Thunders, they're lightweight versus other trucks. If you like low trucks, then you'll like thunders more than indies because you are lower to the ground. You get that quicker pop, so you don't have to, go up as much. The problem is you get wheel bite a little bit more, and they're lightweight and very responsive. Like I said, the board will not turn unless you tell it to turn, and they're quick turns, so you can do all these little micro adjustments. You can decide where you want to go. So you land a trick, for the most part, you can kind of just like adjust and twitch out of it. Like say you're doing a full cab or something. Where like indies or other trucks, you can kind of like carve and roll out of a turn. This you can land and it still will make it look like you did the trick perfectly, but it's harder for people to notice because you're not carving out of the landing. So say you under rotate a trick, you can do that little squeaky thingy, and I don't really know how to describe it, but you can adjust and then keep the board straight again versus, kind of bending out of things. So the great things, very precise, responsive, quick turning, and you get a lot of rebound. So what I mean by rebound is like when you push the truck down and you go into a turn, it really wants to just go back to normal. Like your truck, it wants to stay straight. That's what I like about thunders. So, you barely push down, springs back up. No matter how loose or tight you keep your trucks. Where other trucks, sometimes they, slowly will come back up. Or right now what I've been noticing with tensor bushings is sometimes they just get stuck. You land with too much impact and the truck stays like that. And so then the board just wants to carve away. Or if you want to get it back to normal, you have to push back the other side. That's not fun. Again, it's personal. But I really like how thunders, they go back to normal. You land a trick, you carve, and then lift up, straight again. That's what I was saying about the whole like indies, you carve out, and then this you can land, turn a little bit out of your trick, and then just lift up, and then you'll keep going straight. So it looks like you did the trick perfectly. The cons with thunders, they are a little bit lower to the ground, so it means more wheel bite. And apparently, according to some other YouTubers, the wheelbase, I can't really describe it or compare it because I don't have any reference boards, but where the axles are, the wheelbase, they actually are flared out. So like indies, your trucks will kind of feel a little bit closer in versus where thunders kind of spread it out. So they give you that more stability, which the stability feels nice on thunders, but you're increasing your wheelbase. And if you already have a board that has a really long wheelbase, it's going to make tray flips a lot harder, and you're going to have more issues like kind of with that. So personally, if you're going to get thunders, try to get a board with a really short wheelbase. Here's actually a board with horrible wheelbase. So this is a mini logo, and this specific model, it's an 8.5, 15-inch wheelbase already. I think it may actually be a little bit longer, but we're just going to say 15. I know I had a 15 from it, maybe 15.25, but it's 15. That's pretty long for a wheelbase. And then you have the thunders, and you extend it. So it's almost like you're riding a longboard. This board for tray flips was like, it took a lot of effort. It was really hard. It made the board feel heavy too. When you have a longer wheelbase, that's a different type video, but the pop, your nose feels a lot heavier. The wheelbase being so long, again, it makes it harder to rotate. So I just sucked at tray flips. Like I barely ever tray flipped on this board. It wasn't fun. I didn't even do impossibles that much on this board. I didn't like any of that. For some reason, I could nollie tray flip on this board really easily, but the best setup I had were some Chris Cole Team Hollow Lights, I think, or they were just they were like that. They were the back when Thunder made. I believe they made Thunder High Hollows at the same time. Now they like apparently dropped their whole Thunder High line. So the best board I had for flip tricks ever is I had Thunder Hollow Lights. They were raised up a little bit. I may have been using a riser pad, so they were almost as tall as Indies, but not as quite. And I had a 0P2 deck that had a very, very short wheelbase. It was still an 8.5 deck, but the wheelbase was only 14 inches. So Thunders that are light, raised up a little bit, with a very lightweight deck with a short wheelbase, like I could trade double flip every single time. I had 540 flips. I had fakey gazelle flips pretty easily. You can go check out my older videos. I think that was around the time period of 2013. So if you go on my channel and you look at the 2013 videos, I was doing fakey big double flips, fakey double tray flips, 540 flips, bunch of other stuff. I almost did a triple nightmare flip. That was just like when I was like almost like skating at my peak. So having an overall lightweight setup does help with that, but the problem with the Thunders is they do shorten your wheelbase, and I like a shorter wheelbase for flip tricks. And yeah, so to wrap this video up, I would recommend Thunders if you're into more precision and technical skating. If you're a bull rider and you like transition, or you're just kind of more like mellow and you just like to ride around or doing things like that, or you have a board that has a long wheelbase and the brand that you like just naturally has long wheelbase, I would say go with Indies. But if you're into more technical skating and you like to feel the ledge or grind on it and have a lightweight truck that assists with flip tricks, and you like to really lock into grinds, then I would go with Thunders, because they turn quick and fast, and then they like to stay stable. And a little side note, that was the other thing with grinds. They really like to lock in, so you get that nice, I think these are kind of worn down. Yeah, this must be my my 50-50 side, but they really like to lock in the grind. So like once you're in the grind, you don't even have to really balance. Like it'll just hug the ledge versus just kind of sliding around. I don't really know how to describe it, but they're really good. I like Thunders. I just wish their wheelbase was a little bit shorter. But very quick pop, good responsiveness, fast turning, and if you don't like the shortness, I guess just get like a shock pad or riser pad. And problem solved, which is what I was mostly doing because I didn't really like wheelbase.